Hey everybody, this is Charlie from Charlie Cobra Reviews, and just wanted to say I hope you're having a wonderful day. This is going to be our review for Tom and Jerry. If you like the video, make sure to click that like button and subscribe to our channel for our latest reviews, and click on the notification button so you can be notified about our latest videos. Now, to the review. Kayla Forrester, played by Chloe Grace Moretz, is a street-smart woman doing odd jobs in Manhattan when she bumps into Tom while he's chasing Jerry in Central Park. Jerry, who picked a fight with Tom during an impromptu piano performance, is also house hunting and in search of a new home. Kayla is fortuitous when she goes to the Royal Gate Hotel for a free breakfast and presents a stolen resume as her own. She's given a position with helping event manager Terrence Mendoza, played by Michael Pena, with a high-profile wedding the very day that Jerry takes up residence in the hotel. Tom and Jerry's usual shenanigans ensue when Kayla hires Tom to exterminate him when Jerry begins stealing food and items, causing concern about Ben and Preeta's wedding, and for the hotel's reputation to Mr. Dubros, played by Rob Delaney, the hotel's owner and general manager. This was a movie that I watched on a whim and didn't have any expectations going into it, other than the animation looked really nice in the trailer when I first saw it. Also, trying to get into the groove of getting back on doing my reviews on the regular again. I'm also a fan of both Chloe Grace Moretz from the Kick-Ass movies and Michael Pena from just about everything he comes out in. Plus, I've always been a fan of Tom and Jerry. Watching the cartoons as a kid was always fun, and it's something that I can still enjoy anytime, even though it's something that's really old. But enough of that, and let's get to what I thought about the movie. I liked how the movie set up the Tom and Jerry characters similar to how it would in an episode. It showed both of them individually with their own goals before bringing them together. Tom is shown to have aspirations of becoming an accomplished pianist, and Jerry is shown house hunting and looking for a new home to live in. That's when Jerry finds Tom pulling a scam in Central Park, conning people as a blind piano player. Jerry tries to cash in on Tom's scheme and begins trying to get in on the action and adding himself and a little flair to the performance. That's when their usual antics ruin the opportunity for both of them. This was a pretty decent opening, and I really liked how their animation looked and how the live action aspect interacted with them. It was very visually pleasing. I really didn't like how it seemed Jerry was the agitator between the two, or at least the one who starts the rivalry in this movie, but I think I've always looked at him through rose-colored glasses, if you will, since he's the smaller and more vulnerable of the two. The comedic antics were very spot on, emulating a lot of classic moments from the cartoon, with most, not all, working fairly well in a real-world setting. I think where this movie lost me the most was not the backdrop of New York City being the setting, or even the live-action part, and actors like Chloe Grace Moretz and Michael Pena, but the whole wedding plot being a primary focus of the film. I mean, I can totally see it as a catalyst to the whole plot, but for it to be such a focus didn't really throw me. I thought the acting was decent and comedy was good, but this movie didn't really strike me as a super funny movie, though it did have me laughing out loud at a couple of parts. I was happy that they also added Spike and the pretty white cat whose name is Toots, which are regulars in the cartoon, and also a host of other cats as part of the Alley Cat gang, who many of which looked familiar. Also, the music soundtrack was good too and had a bunch of popular artists from music of today, which didn't really go with the whole vibe of Tom and Jerry, but didn't take away from the movie either. Droopy the dog's cameo was also a nice added touch. All in all, this movie was barely above average for me, and I think that's mainly having nostalgia for the characters and what the show used to be. Definitely not something I would see at theaters, but I hear if you have HBO Max, it's on there and you should give it a shot. I give this movie a 6 out of 10. And now there's going to be the spoiler section. So I'll give you a couple of moments for people who don't want the movie to be ruined. Okay, so I gave this movie a 6 out of 10, which for me is above average, but this movie barely met that criteria. It started off pretty good and funny, with Jerry looking for a new place to live and dealing with a dodgy real estate rat. It was also cool to see Tom having dreams or aspirations of becoming a pianist, and then seeing how they collide when Jerry tries to own in on his action on the whole blind piano player scheme. That was all classic Tom and Jerry. I also enjoyed the way they interacted with the whole live action aspect of the film and how the people reacted to them and the environments and how that all worked out was pretty good to me in my opinion. The pigeon singing opening was also pretty funny and cool, and when he sings again later in the movie, it was pretty awesome. I really liked Chloe Grace Moretz as Kayla Forrester and thought she did a pretty good job, especially for acting with which was probably either people wearing green screen costumes or props. And Michael Pena was pretty funny as the event manager as well. The movie was pretty predictable, except for one thing that I guess I should have known if I had bothered to pay enough attention in the trailer, but I never did, and that's the whole subplot of the wedding being such a big focus for the film. I don't have anything against weddings except for when it comes to TV shows and how if any of them run long enough, there's going to be a wedding episode somewhere eventually. But I really felt that it kind of took away from the whole vibe of it being a Tom and Jerry movie. It was cool how they brought Spike and Toots into the picture by them being the pets of Ben and Prita. It was pretty obvious when they introduced the bartender character, Cameron, that he would be Kayla's love interest, but I'm kind of glad that they didn't lean too hard into that. I thought it was pretty funny how Kayla made Tom and Jerry be friends and go out on the town on their own, and it was kind of fun to see them get along for a while, but I knew it would never last. Also thought that it was pretty messed up that Kayla let Terrence take the blame for Spike, Tom, and Jerry tearing up the hotel when it all started with Jerry, who returned when she had said Tom had taken care of him already. But I could totally tell that would come back to, bite them in the butt. I didn't see Terrence as being the villain, but you could totally tell that he would become the villain of the movie after that. And, most of the movie, like I said, is predictable in a lot of ways. There was also a surprising after-credits scene where Ben is charged for 2 different weddings by the hotel, which is pretty funny too. Not a great movie by any means, and definitely barely above average, but if you have HBO Max, you should give it a watch for nostalgia's sake, especially if you're an old Tom and Jerry fan. Like I said before, I give this movie a 6 out of 10. Thanks again for taking time out of your busy day and checking out this review. Remember to like the video and subscribe to our channel to keep up to date on our latest videos, and hit that notification button if you don't want to miss any. Also, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you like watching video games, check out our live streams on Twitch, where we're streaming every day, and our other channel here on YouTube, where we post the streams at a later time. I'm Charlie Cobra, and have a great day.